Hey, what's up guys? This is Ty Dow here again inside of a Facebook ads series where I'm going to be showing you how to use lookalike audiences to help scale your business. Now, this is not a scaling technique as far as like scaling up, but this is a part of scaling up your e-commerce business by scaling out. See, when you are collecting data inside of your Facebook ads campaigns, it is allowing Facebook to become smarter and smarter and smarter by reading the data that's getting driven to your website. So everybody that views your content, everybody that adds a cart, everybody that purchases, everybody that initiates the cart is pieces of data that Facebook is collecting, and I'm going to show you how to use that in the most appropriate way so that you can get cheaper conversions on your campaigns. Now, these are smaller audiences. However, even though you're going to have campaigns that will take off and make much more money than these lookalike audiences, it's going to allow you to make your Facebook pixel even smarter by allowing Facebook to read the data and use it to best find your customers for your products that you're marketing right now. If you just arrived on this video, or if you've been on here for a while and you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, go ahead and hit the button right below this video and also hit the notification bell, because as I come out with new videos in this series, it's going to allow you to receive these videos immediately whenever I release them out to the public. So with that being said, folks, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and lookalike audiences. See, back then when I first started Facebook ads, I started out when there was only right column ads. Could you imagine only having ads that would show up in the right column on a desktop? There was no mobile feeds, there was no Instagram ads, there was no Messenger ads, there was only right column ads when I first started. So I didn't know anything about lookalike audiences, I didn't know how to use them, I didn't know what they were for. But once I realized how powerful lookalike audiences were, that's all I wanted to do was get to the lookalike phase of my e-commerce campaigns and any campaign that I actually marketed for that fact. So in this series and in this video right now, I'm going to go hop on over to my computer where I'm going to share with you in detail how to use the lookalike audiences to really train your pixel to become smarter, to help you to find the right customers in any audience that you choose to look at. Okay, next thing is, one last thing is that if you have any questions whatsoever, go ahead and post those questions in the comments section below of this YouTube video, and what I will do is I will look back periodically and I will use this information to help give you a better experience as far as giving you value with these Facebook ads videos. So the more questions you guys ask, the better quality to you that I'll be giving you inside of this Facebook ads series. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hop on over to my computer and we're going to dive into these lookalike audiences. Alright, so I'm live here on my screen, and we're going to go over lookalike audiences here. It's not going to be a very long segment, but I want to stress upon you what the importance of lookalike audiences and what is lookalike audiences. And the best way that I can describe this is, let's say that you have 1,000 people who arrived on over to your website. Now, you know every click that goes on Facebook on over to your website, Facebook's tracking it and is recording it and it's storing it inside of your pixel, which is the source of communicating with your website. And so since you've got 1,000 people over to your website, wouldn't it be cool if you could let Facebook do the heavy lifting for you and find the exact profiles that match up with these 1,000 people who went over to your website and create lookalikes off of those, okay? And to better explain that, you've got 1,000 people who went over to your website. Facebook is tracking all this data. They know the age range, they know the sex, they know, what they like, what they don't like. And if you say, Facebook, I want you to create a 1 million size audience, or 2 million size audience, or 4 million size audience, or 10 million size audience, based off of these 1,000 people who went over to my website. So what Facebook will do is they'll read the data from these 1,000 people who went over to your website, and it will gather a 1 million size audience based off of these 1,000 people who went over to your website. These are 1 million to 2 million, 4 million, 5 million, 10 million, however
big you want these audiences or percentages wise, Facebook will go out there and create a lookalike audience based off that, and acute and compile a audience size for you based on all that data. So these are million size audience, 2 million and up, that look exactly like these 1,000 people who went over to your website. So that's how powerful Facebook is that they can take and read data and compile an audience based off of that data that you already fed it. Okay, and I love that about Facebook, and you guys should be definitely using that in your arsenal of actually targeting, because as you go and as you know, when you're doing interest targeting, you don't want to go out there and continue to do research and find more interest and find more interest and find more interest. You want Facebook to go out there and do the heavy lifting for you and find these interests and find these individuals that would match up, because you've already collected the data. Okay, you want them to do that for you. That because Facebook, obviously it's their platform. They know what type of people they can gather, and there's interest that you may be trying to use, or there's interest out there that you never would have thought of using, but since Facebook knows exactly how to match up these individuals based on the data that you've already given it, it will go out there and find these individuals through all types of interests that you would never even think of. So with that being said, I'd rather have them do the work instead of me doing all the work. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into this method. And, this helps you to scale wide using your lookalike audiences. Okay. And what I mean by scaling wide is you're literally finding more interest. You're finding other audiences that you can use to spend more money on, to get you conversions in your business. Instead of scaling up all the time, you can scale wide by tapping into other audiences that you can use to scale up at that point. So I say scale wide because as you get more and more campaigns that are winning and more ad sets that are winning, it's gonna be more crucial for you as far as hitting the numbers that you're looking for, because now you have more audiences that you can scale up instead of just one or two or three audiences that you can scale up. At that point, by utilizing this, you have several to choose from, because not every audience is created equally and not every ad set is created equally. And if you have more options, it's going to be easier for you to scale up. And you can say this to yourself: would it be easier for me to scale up with one audience, or would it be easier for me to scale up with 10 audiences that are actually working and giving me good conversions in the process? So there are different types of lookalikes that I use. I use view content. Okay, again, that's visitors over to your website. Add to cart are people who add products to their cart. So anyone that you've sent over to your website that have added products to their cart, Facebook's also tracking this information as well, and you can make a lookalike audience off of add to carts. And then obviously last one is purchase. There are other types that you can create, like initiate cart and different all types of different lookalikes that you can create, but these are the three that I usually use all the time. Now obviously purchase is the most powerful lookalikes that you can ever create, but it's going to take a while to get to that point, because you don't want to go and create a lookalike audience based off of 10 purchases. Okay, you want to wait a while for it to pile up, which brings me to my next point. Start using lookalikes when you reach 1,000 conversions. You don't want to go out there and create lookalikes off of 10 purchases. You want to wait till it piles up to about 1,000 purchases before you start to create a lookalike audience based off that. Because the longer you wait, the more powerful the purchases, the lookalikes will perform. And the next thing is, and this is cool, because as you continue to use these lookalikes, they're going to get smarter and smarter and smarter, because they actually build as you're using them. Right? So if you're building it and you notice, okay, I got 1,000 purchases, now I have 2,000 purchases, and you want to recreate lookalikes Well, Facebook's made it to where you don't have to recreate them. All you got to do is continue to use the lookalikes that you have, that you've been using, because Facebook is going to continue to build your conversions within those lookalikes. So that's very important. I didn't know in the beginning when I was starting off my conversions. So once you get to 1,000 view content lookalikes, view content count, then you're going to go ahead and create 1,000. You're going to create your lookalikes here. I'm going to go into detail about what type of lookalikes that you're going to create, but just know this is a benchmark. 1,000 views, 1,000 website visitors, boom, create a lookalike audience. Create your lookalike audiences for that. As soon as you get 1,000 add to carts, do the same thing. Purchase, same thing. Use lookalikes for all countries you're running ads for. So we're going to use this in the same way that we would when we're starting up a US only campaign, or we're starting up a campaign specifically for top tier countries. So for example, when we started up these campaigns, and if you haven't already gone back to video number 1 in this series where we talk about the campaign setup, our rule of thumb is if we use US only, we're going to have a campaign specifically for US only. If we're going to run campaigns for top tier, we're going to have one campaign for the top tier countries. And the top tier countries that we use is US, UK, Australia, and Canada. So when you're looking to create lookalike audiences, for number 1, you're going to go ahead and select US only and create the lookalikes off of the US only the country, okay? And then so you're going to go through that phase, and then next what you're going to do is you're going to create you're going to have to type in the box when you create your lookalikes US, Canada, Australia, and UK. So they're all grouped together, and it's served as one set of lookalike audiences. So you don't have to go out there. In other words, you don't have to go out there and create lookalike audience for US, lookalike audience for UK, lookalike audience for Australia, lookalike audience for Canada. You just create one set of lookalike audiences for US and one set of lookalike audiences for UK, US, Australia, and Canada, all grouped in one. All right, so that's just 2 sets of lookalikes. And what I do is, because there's different ways that you can create lookalikes. You can create 1% to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, all the way up to 10. Or you can do them the way that I do it, which is separately: 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%. I create them separately instead of 1 to 2 or 2 to 4, or 2 to 3 and 3 to 4 and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I've done. I've gotten the best conversions out of doing it this way, and then also I know which ones are performing the best. So that's what I use in the process of doing that. And again, you're going to do this whole sequence for US. So you have 10 lookalikes for the US. Then you're going to go back. You're going to select countries US, UK, Australia, and Canada, and you're going to create all of these for that as well. So that would be another set of 10 lookalikes. And then all together, if you count them up, there's 20 lookalike audiences that you can test. And it's going to allow you to find, obviously help you to fine tune that pixel and give it more data and help it to become more smarter by you utilizing these lookalike audiences. So we're going to go into launching lookalike ads, okay? The way that I launch lookalike ads is the same way within the first video of this series. We launch one campaign. The difference is that we're going to set up 10 ad sets within that campaign. And each one of these ad sets, again, we duplicate 4 times. Or each one of these ads, I'm sorry. Each one of these ads will duplicate 4 times. Okay? And so when you go through the whole process with one campaign, you'll have 40 ads total. All right? And remember, the reason why we do 4 ads for one ad set is because Facebook needs to find the best placement for that particular ad set and campaign. All right, and so by doing that, again, it's going to find the best hole, and then obviously in 24 hours you're going to kill the ads that aren't performing, that aren't getting reach, and then obviously that aren't getting sales off of that launch. Okay, so that's, I know it may sound confusing, but as you go through this video over and over again, it'll start to make more and more sense, especially when you go out there and start implementing what I'm teaching you here in this video. Next thing is you're going to launch US lookalikes in its own campaign, the same way, like I said again, that I was explaining, that you want US only, US traffic only in its own campaign. And you want worldwide or otherwise top tier ads in its own campaign separately. So you have a US campaign with 10 ad sets, 40 ads total, because you're going to duplicate each one of these ad sets 4 times. So 4 times 10 is 40. And then you're going to have a worldwide campaign, or otherwise known as top tier ads, okay, if you're following what I teach as far as using US, UK, Australia, and Canada in one campaign. You're going to have a total of 10 ads again on that, and 10 ad sets and 40 ads total within that worldwide campaign. Okay, you're going to optimize these ads for purchase on all these campaigns and all ad sets. Okay, so you're not trying to optimize for add to cart, you're not trying to optimize for view content, you're only optimizing for purchase on all campaigns in your entire Facebook ad account. Okay, and next thing is, or lastly, for each asset that you use, exclude all of the other lookalikes to make sure you're not marketing to the same people. I see people making this mistake all the time. So if you're running a US lookalike campaign, and let's say that you're setting up the 1% ad set, you're going to exclude 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%, 9%, all the way up to 10%. And so, like, even when you move further on down the ladder, let's say that you only have 1,000 view content viewers, and let's say that now, or you set up your campaigns. Obviously, you're going to only exclude the view contents, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, all the way up to 10%. But let's say that you start creating add to cart lookalikes, and you're setting up the ad set for 1% add to cart lookalikes. Well, you're going to exclude 2% add to cart lookalikes all the way up to 10%, and you're also going to exclude the view content lookalikes, like all of the view content lookalikes. Okay, if that makes sense to you, right? And so same thing is if you're using 2%, you're going to exclude 1%, 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%, all the way up to 10. Same thing with 3, you're going to exclude 1%, 2%, 4%, 5%, all the way up to 10. So basically, in other words, you're going to exclude all of the other lookalikes when you're setting up this ad set. Okay, so in retrospect, this is a powerful tool to allow you to see how profitable these lookalike audiences are. Now, these should be and will be more profitable, and they'll be more profitable and will be cheaper conversions versus your regular interest. And for whatever reason, if it's not, then you'll just have to wait a little bit longer to create till your lookalikes get stronger. Okay, because in this testing phase, when you're launching these lookalike audiences, sometimes they don't perform the way that we're wanting it to perform, and sometimes I end up killing all of my lookalike audiences and campaigns, and just letting my interest campaigns run a little bit longer. And I'm speaking only if I'm starting off from scratch with a new client, with a new pixel, new ad account. And, their data and everything's just not as strong or strong enough to pick up on it. But that's why I always go and wait till I get 1,000 conversions before I start digging in. So, with that being said, folks, there is other levels, like I was saying before. there are other levels to scaling. This is just another level of scaling, scaling wide before you really start to scale up. And then I have other levels to scaling up that that I use every single time. This is the same process I use with clients to help them to hit 20K days, 40K days, 80K days, and beyond. Okay, and so with that being said, I look forward to answering your questions, because I know that this training today may be a little bit confusing to some of you who aren't used to launching lookalike audiences. And, you know, I would like to help you to iron out those small details. But with all that being said, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. There is more videos coming in this series. And also, to hear any of your questions to be answered, you have to subscribe to this YouTube channel to make that happen. So anyways, you guys take care, and I hope this was valuable for you. But in other words, like, I will see you at the top. Take care.